virus to hit unless our government decides they're gonna give out money the way that they
That's right.
gave out this past time.
Alright, so call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Morton?
Here.
Commissioner Connor?
Here.
Commissioner Fowler?
Here.
Commissioner Moore?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cordell?
Here. Alright, and we'll start with the adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
Alright, all in favor? Alright. And then do we have any comments from attendees?
Not that I'm aware of, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll move on to number 4, the approval of the December 8th, 2022 regular session minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I second it.
All in favor? And then, motion to approve the December 8th, 2022 closed session meeting minutes.
I'll make that as well. I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Okay, and then number 5, we've got the presentation of the fiscal year 2022 audit. Mr. Carrick, do you want to come forward?
First of all, I want to thank y'all again for the opportunity to serve as your auditor again this past year, and as I always do, to remind you that I work for you as a board. So anytime y'all have questions, concerns whatsoever, whether it be the audit, whether it be finances in general, or a question comes up, feel free to give me a call. You know, we work with, this year, 26 small towns around North Carolina or whatever, so we're getting to see what's happening with other towns as well, you know, so I want to be considered an asset to you. So anytime y'all have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. The first thing I say is you did receive an unqualified or a clean opinion on the financial statements and audit report that you received, which basically means that based on the audit procedures that I performed, those financials did fairly represent the books and records of the town of Ranlo for the year ending June 30th, 2022. With that having been said, I'm kind of going to go to my cheat sheet here or whatever. But I'm going to preface what I'm going to say here with one thing. You know, y'all received $3.6 million in skip funds, right, at the end of last year. These numbers that I'm going to talk about have nothing to do with those skip funds because they were basically put into a bank account. We did not recognize any income on these financials from those skip funds or whatever. They've been deferred until the current year, well, until y'all start using them, actually, what it amounts to. So I did want to say that to start off with. So these numbers I'm going to talk about here does not include that $3.6 million of skip funds. Bottom line for the general fund, you see a little over $1 million. So an increase of over $800,000. You know, y'all had anticipated and y'all had budgeted fund balance of $275,000, thinking y'all were going to use that, but you see it was a really good year. You did not have to use any fund balance you added to the bottom line. And so the highlights kind of for the income side, you see ad valorem taxes up, local option sales tax still increasing, which is a good sign, shows that the economy is still around here, still continuing to increase. Powell bill had some additional grants that you received and changes in the garbage collection fees or what do you see, those were reflected in this year's. I hate when I use an Excel spreadsheet and I pull something down to add a line or whatever, because that transfer of ARPA funds, that $218,000 you see is exactly the same number above there. There was no ARPA funds in 2021. That should have been a zero there. So we did have a transfer of ARPA funds of $584,000. So you see total revenues and transfers, $3.4 million versus about $2.3 million last year. Total expenditures, pretty much in line with where they were. Some additional expenses in public works, less in street this past year. So basically, after you look at everything, it puts you in an unrestricted cash position for the general fund of $1.6 million. So you see basically that $1 million bottom line pretty much flowed down to your unrestricted cash position. Your unassigned fund balance, 1.5 million, which was 67%, last year it was like less than 30%,
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that. So this has got,
Yeah.
this has got y'all back up to basically what, is pretty much, average for a town your size in North Carolina, as far as that was concerned. And your ad valorem tax rate, 99%, still about 3% above average. Any questions about the general fund for this past year? Very good year. Half of that bottom line basically is ARPA funds coming back in. You're gonna get basically that much again showing up in this current year. Right, guys, y'all got.
I think they're both in there. The 538,000 was deposited in June of 2021, so that would show it on the 21 audit. And the additional
Okay, so this was the second, this was the second one,
Right.
this was the second, okay, all right, okay. So water, y'all been working on your water sewer rates or whatever, you see an increase there. And, the biggest thing was decreases in the expenditures for water and sewer. That had to do actually with, not only the cost of water and sewer, but actually repairs, maintenance, these kind of things. Y'all really kind of did everything you could to avoid any expenditures if possible. So you've actually put yourself in an unrestricted cash position in the water and sewer fund now of over $1 million. So I think, the state treasurer's office is gonna be real happy when they see that. Any questions about water and sewer? Okay, so I did include, I think, most of you here, and we talked about it last year, the fact the state treasurer's office has kind of changed how they are able to review stuff. They're like everybody else, they don't have the staff and everything that they used to have. They don't go through these audit reports line by line, kind of like they used to. So when we actually submit your audit report now, there's actually a matrix that we put the numbers in or whatever, which generates these performance indicators that you see. I include those with every town because I think if nothing else, it gives y'all a good idea as you read through it. What does the state treasurers, how do they look at a town your size? What kind of criteria are they using? What kind of measurements are they using to judge how you're doing or whatever? So, if you get a chance, go through that. The one thing that I will point out to you, page 5, since last year y'all were on the assistance list. Basically, last year you wrote a letter, told them what you were gonna do, how you're gonna follow up. Basically because you were on the assistance list last year, they kind of wanna see further explanation, okay, how's everything going? So it's really just a follow-up of where you were at, and, it's really gonna be an easy thing, to reply to or whatever, because you can almost basically say, hey, look at our audit report, you see how we're doing or whatever. But you will have to, within 60 days, respond to that, and the majority of the board will need to sign off on the explanation, just kind of, they're just wanting to keep up with how you're doing, and are you doing the things that y'all talked about last year. And apparently from your audit, those things made a tremendous amount of difference this year or whatever, so. Any other questions anybody has?
I wanna say that over the years past, there's been a lot more red blocks than there are this year. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and like I said, literally, there are no areas of concern other than the fact, like I say, that they're just following up where y'all were at last year or whatever, so that's good. Whole lot different than it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes, it is.
So, y'all to be commended for what y'all have done, and can put that in the paper.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank y'all, and your staff always does a great job or whatever, so
Yes.
thank them for, like I say, with every town, they say they love me, but they wanna get me in and out as quick as I can or whatever, so, it's been a more pleasant experience the last couple of years than it was there for a couple of years or whatever, getting through the audit process, so, thank y'all.
Yeah,
for
thank you,
everything that
Eddie.
y'all
I
do.
mean, over the past 3 years, we've put together fiscal year 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and now 22. So we are, which is wonderful, and
That's
certainly appreciate
amazing.
your cooperation and all the assistance, particularly there at the beginning when we
Yeah.
spring.
Like I said, that's what I'm here for. Anytime y'all have any questions, concerns, or something comes up, just let me know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Now I get to fight traffic again.
Well, drive safe. Drive safe.
Thank you.
All righty. Man,
That's wonderful.
y'all done a great
That's
job.
better than one thought.
Much better.
Y'all done a great job.
And I know that we had projected to put roughly 300,000 back in the fund balance. I think Mr. Carrick indicated that we were anticipating taking money out of the fund balance, from the general fund, but we anticipated putting it back, but this is substantially more than we had originally anticipated.
Right, so on to item number 6, the adoption of the 2023 meeting and holiday schedule.
Board has before them tonight our bulk pickup schedule, board meeting schedule, and the holiday schedule for 2023. This reflects the second Tuesday of each month for our regular board meetings, the second Wednesday of each month for bulk pickup, and then our usual holiday schedule at the bottom. We would recommend adopting this schedule, and we'd be glad to entertain any questions, comments, or inquiries.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we adopt it.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second the motion.
All in favor? Is that gonna go on the website?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
Item number 7, discussion of revenue replacement utilizing ARPA funding.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. As Mr. Carrick indicated, we have received roughly $1.2 million in American Rescue Plan Act funding. That was roughly $538,000 that we received in June of 2020 and $538,000 that we received in, June 2021 and then June of 2022. That money was deposited into our bank account, and then we transferred it into our capital management savings account. We have not expended any of those funds. At the December meeting, there was a discussion about the Christmas bonuses that we were going to award to town employees and looking to utilize some of the ARPA funds to cover those raises. I would recommend that we use the money that we have budgeted for the backhoe, which is $103,460, that we use that money to do a budget amendment to cover the cost or a portion of the cost for the raises, and then use a portion of the ARPA funds to pay for the backhoe. If you guys will recall, in February of this year, the board ratified a letter of intent to purchase this backhoe, knowing that it would be months before it would be delivered and it would go over into fiscal year 22. So if you guys will recall, last month, I think the day of the meeting, the backhoe was delivered. So it's really just an accounting technicality that I'm looking for the board to agree that we use a portion of our ARPA funds to pay for the backhoe and use the money that we budgeted for the backhoe to balance out some of those line items in regards to salary.
And that's just something you need a consensus on, or you make a motion?
I'd like a motion on that, Mr. Fowler, in order, because the board approved a special grant project ordinance for the ARPA funds, so this would be amending that budget ordinance in order to provide for this expenditure.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All in favor? All right. So next we have the town manager's report.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Just a few things for the board and the public's consideration tonight. Town Hall will be closed on Monday, January 16th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The garbage schedule for the week will be 1 day delayed, so if you typically get your garbage picked up on Monday, it will be on Tuesday, and then Tuesday on Wednesday. So we certainly appreciate the public's patience as we work towards getting everything picked up next week. Our capital projects continue to go incredibly well. Mr. Harper's done a wonderful job leading the new meter installation across town. We have, how many in the ground, Mr. Harper, about 15?
Right at 1,500.
Right at 1,500. We're still a couple hundred short.
103.
103 short that we're waiting to be delivered so we can get those installed. So that will be a much welcome relief when we have those new electronic water meters in order to more accurately assess what's being used and what's being billed. So we are excited to see that nearly $1 million project that was funded entirely through direct allocations from the state coming to fruition. Boulder Court is nearing completion. We're hoping to have the roadway opened up in the next 60 days. Contractors have been on site working incredibly hard. Naturally, as we anticipated, there were more issues than we originally had listed in the bid packet, but Customs has done an excellent job, as well as the Wooten Company, in overseeing the construction administration of that project. Today, they brought in additional unanticipated riprap to compact down into the storm system. The regular gravel wasn't going to be sufficient enough to support a certain compromised area. So we are looking forward to having the roadway back open, and we certainly, again, apologize for any type of inconveniences and disruptions that it's caused the neighbors in that particular section of town. We all recognize that's been a very difficult task and very difficult time. We also are moving forward with the lodge. Hopefully all of the supplies material will be in soon, and we'll receive the final permit from the county to finish the installations up there. This week we reported our quarterly SCIF, SCIF, as Mr. Carrick indicated, the State Capital Improvement Fund reporting. We got roughly $3.56 million in that. Each quarter we're required to report what we've spent it on. This quarter we spent roughly $190,000 on it, on lodge renovations, on some of the sidewalk research that we're doing, engineering reports, being able to get that up and going, and then other miscellaneous engineering reports. So that has been accepted from the state, showing where these funds for those direct allocations have been going. Also, Chief Lunsford provided me with an annual report for activity log. This past year in 2022, the police department had 7,244 calls for service. Our police department has done a phenomenal job, particularly over the last 7,244 calls for service. So they've done an excellent job over this last year, in particular in light of recent events. I want to again thank Mr. Carrick for being here. He has been a great help to us over the past few years, and that really is a very joyous thing to hear. No areas of concern. That's certainly not where we were a few years ago. So I'm particularly proud of that. Particularly happy with the recommendations that the board adopted a couple of years ago. I've worked with the disparity between revenue and expenditures in both the general fund and the utility fund. So I'm particularly proud of that. That is all that I have, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. I'll be glad to entertain any questions, or if you guys have anything for me.
Are we going to ask the state about getting removed from the unit assistance list?
I would like to put that in the letter that we're going to send to them. That will need to be ratified at the February meeting. Fingers crossed, as Mr. Carrick said, I think they're going to be incredibly pleased with the progress that we have made. We did not anticipate being able to make such a high level of progress in such a short period of time. So we will certainly petition them, ask them, and hopefully we'll get good news, or at least some guidance on what we can do for planning for fiscal year '24 in order to set aside any concerns that they may have.
Any other questions? Any comments from the board?
Yeah, I like a few things. It's first year, are we gonna advertise for ball, and just give the citizens a chance for their children to sign up and try to have ball this summer, I know they've shown very little interest, but, it's always good to put it out there to give them a chance, each year, to try to get their kids involved in ball back in Ranlo, and stuff. And then the next thing is, my pastor, where I go to church at, asked me about Milltown nights and stuff,
Right.
This year. And, 'cause I know he used to come and serve free shaved ice and free popcorn, as an outreach community, to all the citizens, and.
Sure. I will be glad to put out a feeler for soliciting input with recreation with ball teams to see if there's any interest again this year. We tried it the past couple of years. There wasn't enough interest in order to be able to develop some teams, but we can certainly try and put it on Facebook. Have some applications here with a set time window, so that if we aren't able to have teams, that they're able to go somewhere else and not be left out without being able to play.
Just give them opportunity, because if we don't try, then they're gonna say, hey, this board don't wanna do nothing, for the kids,
Sure, and I'll be glad to work on that the next few days. And I'm glad you brought up Milltown Nights, Commissioner Morgan, because I do have an idea that I've been working on the past few weeks, and I meant to add that to my report. This year will be Ranlo's 60th anniversary, the 60th anniversary of our incorporation. I was looking at, in lieu of doing the fireworks the week after the 4th, moving it to July 29th, the weekend of the 29th. That would be the actual date of the anniversary of the incorporation. I actually reached out to Rocky as well with two festivals this year, one in July and then one later in the fall. One having a weekend of celebrations for our anniversary and then having one also again in the fall. I also, Ms. Vernon and I were both approached about a few bands that would be interested in playing in some of the Milltown Night festivals. So what we can do is, I can work up a tentative schedule of events, tentative bands, tentative events, and we can work towards a summer series starting May, June, and then a big celebration for our 60th anniversary in July, and then August, September for the festival, and then I guess we'll conclude it with the festival. But I'd like to have fireworks and some amusement rides and whatnot as a 60th anniversary celebration that we'd like to start planning if that's agreeable with you all.
That's a good idea. Okay. I would like to share something that I've been thinking on. First off, I definitely want to thank our town manager for him and his wife. We were fortunate enough to have the food boxes from Food Lion from, can't even think of the family.
Kenneth Falls Ministry.
Kenneth Falls Ministry, yes. And the one thing that got my attention was that, Mr. Blanton and his wife took their own time to deliver those, to ride around Ranlo and deliver these boxes. And I want to say it was over 300
I believe
boxes.
it's 311.
So we definitely thank you for that, for taking your own time to do that. That was incredible. But the one thing that got my brain going is that when I looked into the demographics of Ranlo, I'm gonna say we're not quite at 5,000 residents, but we're not far from it. The poverty rate here in Ranlo is like 15.6%. That means we have almost 750 families or individuals that are at or below the poverty guideline established by the state. And Gaston County as a whole is only like at 13.6. So as fast as those boxes went, the need is out there. So I kind of thought about it a little bit, didn't think about the athletic stuff going on, getting back in that, but I thought, wouldn't it be great if for the month of February, we do food donation, canned goods, and maybe we can use the concession booth that's not being used to store some of this stuff so that families can have, they can come up here and get help. But let it be a whole town event. Let's take up canned goods. Nobody in Ranlo should be hungry. Nobody. And maybe we can reach out to like Bimbos and have bread and get these things and use what we have that we're not using, like the concession stands that has the freezers and things like that we can keep stuff cold. And the other good thing about it is that Ranlo citizens have their pride. And I definitely don't belittle that or have, they do have their pride though. So this way they can come and they can ask and they can go back there and shop. With food, canned goods that are donated or whatever from the town. Just a suggestion because the need is here. And when I did the background, I didn't realize 15.6% is at or below the poverty guideline. That's high for this little town. And I think it'd be great if we had someplace they could go.
Like a February food pantry.
Wouldn't it? It's all about, February's about love. So we can extend that love for each other and our neighbors. And if we could stock up and let people, hey, you need help, let's go back here, get your bag, whatever, take it. Feed your family. Because those boxes went fast.
Right. And I think there would be an outpouring of support from the community in donating things such as that. Last year, Christmas 2021, when we secured those boxes, they went incredibly fast and there were still people requesting assistance, and we put out a message encouraging anyone that had anything left in their pantry to put it on their doorstep, and we were able to deliver. And I was very overwhelmed by the number of people that wanted to support us with that. So I think there would definitely be a lot of community support. And Commissioner Connor is very, very kind but very modest. She coordinated the food box delivery with her connections that she had at Kenneth Falls Ministry and Food Line. So certainly thank her for doing that. We certainly couldn't have done that without her connections and being able to coordinate those events. So thank you, Ms. Connor.
No, thank you.
Let me add to what Robin said, that now, where I go to church at, we do have a pantry ministry every fourth Wednesday. We do have a food give that we, offer to the families come up there. We give them a bag of groceries, you know.
That's good.
And he puts it on Ranlo Chatter, Pastor Robert Rosales, he puts it on Ranlo Chatter on Facebook, and he also has parents night out that can't get away, you know, by themselves. They offer to you can drop their kids off up there at the church and they spend an hour with them, you know, while they go do something, you know, or something, so.
That's great,
So,
yeah, that's great.
I just wanna thank Public Works for coming out and fixing the water line outside my house. Very appreciative that it didn't get left to freeze again.
Doing a great job, and I noticed a drop in my water bill. Is it because of these new water meters?
Could be, could be.
It was a good drop too. Yeah. Did you see a difference in your water bill?
Yeah.
And we have had,
Direction.
Oh.
yeah.
there have been some adjustments that we've had to make because some of the meters were bad that we took out and the meters weren't coinciding. So there have been numerous accounts that we've had to do average bills on because it's just impossible to tell what the actual usage was. It's based off prior uses. But we've had some hiccups and glitches, but I feel confident we're going to be able to work through them and it'll be a fantastic system once it's up and running.
Okay.
Right, Ms. Rob?
Yes.
Any last comments? Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion.
Adjourn.
All in favor?
Mr. Hubbard?